Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick post-fight review on a boxing match, women's boxing match again. Katie Taylor versus Jennifer Hahn. Had to go back and kind of look at the fight again. I missed some of the first half of the fight. I watched it last Saturday, but I still want to come back and watch it again. These are quick fights. These boxing matches for women are only like 2 minutes, 2 minute rounds. 10 rounds. So it's like a 20-minute fight. And overall, I have to say that the fight pretty much went the way I felt it was going to go. Two scenarios that were going to play out. Either Jennifer Hahn was going to make it an ugly, rough fight, and Katie Taylor was going to win a split decision, or it was going to be Katie Taylor all the way, just boxing her way to a decision, which she did. Pretty comfortable in the manner of speaking. I think she did. I think Jennifer Hahn did clinch up a lot in this fight, but she didn't use the clinches well. I feel like she didn't use her long jab and her long right hand enough. It wasn't until like the second half of the fight where she started to come on stronger with her clinch game, but she just didn't use it in a smart way, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, man, the first 4 rounds were just Katie Taylor, boxing circles around Jennifer Hahn, using the speed, combinations, jab up the middle, and just backing Jennifer Hahn up. Every time Jennifer Hahn would try to come in and extend her punches, Katie Taylor was gone. Katie Taylor just using the speed. She was in and out, hands down, trying to lure Jennifer Hahn in, and when Jennifer Hahn would step in, pop, pop, she's gone. Or Katie Taylor coming forward, just letting off the combinations, going to the body and to the head. Now, I'd say probably like the 5th round, Jennifer Hahn, she started to clinch up here and, smother the attack. But I didn't like the positioning of her clinch, the clinching where she would just kind of hold one arm and kind of turn her head. If Jennifer Hahn wanted more success, she should have been trying to get some underhooks, underhooks like in MMA. You got to tie up, maybe wrap one arm up, and work with the right hand, work with the right hand, or just kind of smother, press forward and just fight on the inside a little bit. Don't just clinch up, because the clinches aren't really going to earn you any work here. They're not going to earn you any damage points here. So you have to inside fight a little bit here. If you tie her up like Delphine Persoon was doing, tie her up, start hitting, start hitting with the free hand, free both hands, and use those uppercuts and left hooks in the middle while you have Katie Taylor off of her feet. Because that's the only way you're going to beat Katie Taylor. You have to have Katie Taylor's feet offset. You got to have her against the ropes. You can't have her in the center of the boxing ring, because that's where Katie Taylor is going to have success. She's going to either clinch back, tie you up, or either push you off. So it should have been on Jennifer Hahn here to be, the smarter fighter and say, okay, I'm not as fast. I might, I don't let the combinations go. I'm not as a polished as boxer as Katie Taylor. That's where you gotta humble yourself and say, okay, I gotta be the dirty fighter here. I gotta be the brawler, if you have that in you. So I thought with a lot of the clinches here and like the mid rounds and the tail end of the fight, I think Jennifer Hahn should have been, clinching up here, uppercuts from both hands in the body, to the body, pushing the head, pushing the putting that forearm in the neck, whatever you got to do to make this a rough and ugly fight, because you can't win a points fight or pretty fight against Katie Taylor. You have to rough her up and do damage. You got to take away her legs. That's why I say start with the body, and kind of go from there. Take away the legs. So I think Katie Taylor just pretty much dictated the pace. Boxed well even in the the mid rounds on to 8, 9, and 10. Now I would say. I think it was round 8 or 9. That knockdown was kind of questionable, but it was 2 punches that connected. Whether or not she was off balance, she went down. But I probably wouldn't have called it a knockdown myself, because she wasn't really hurt, and like I said, it wasn't really like off of the punch. It was just kind of off balance move there. But round 10, both fighters were trying to let it go. Katie Taylor started walking her down more, landing to the body, good right hook to the body, left hook to the head. Jennifer Hahn let off a good left hook in that last round, and I was like, dang, that's what she needed throughout the fight. She did a good timing move where she just like dipped left and came to the went to the body of Katie Taylor as she came in. So just a lot of good moments in that 10th round where I thought if Jennifer Hahn would have started with that in the beginning, she would have had more success. Walking Katie Taylor down, meeting her in the center, but just having quicker head movement, I think she would have had success, because if she would have put the long jab down Katie Taylor's, in Katie Taylor's face and right down the pipe, she could have had more success. But yeah, Katie Taylor won clearly. I pretty much say it was like pretty much a shutout, or 9 rounds to 1. I think I may have gave Jennifer Hahn maybe one round. I think. I wasn't too sure about it because Katie was still outworking her, but I think Katie just pretty much pitched the shutout. From here, I really want to see the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor fight. I know Amanda Serrano has goals of becoming undisputed at featherweight, so that's cool. And I think Eddie Hearn said that Katie Taylor has like two more fights, whatever that means. Like two more fights before what? Like two more defenses or two more fights and her contract is up. What does that mean? Like you just saying she has two more fights just to wait for Serrano, or you just want to put two fights ahead of her? I don't get it. You know, it doesn't seem like he's really in negotiation for a Amanda Serrano fight. But I'm sure if Eddie Hearn, you know, hit up Amanda Serrano's phone, hit her up, she would reach out for that fight now, you know, especially if the money's good. You know, Amanda Serrano said the money has to be good. And I understand that. You know, this is women's boxing. So anytime super fights like this come around for women's boxing, you got to make sure you're getting paid. Same thing goes for Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. I respect these women if they hold out a little bit longer, because for these women, it is about money. Because Amanda Serrano, Clarissa Shields, they are doing what they need to do there as far as fighting the best. They're taking on all challenges, but for them, the money's not there, so they have to negotiate. They have to sit back and say, look, we have to get this money right first. You know, with men in boxing, sometimes it's just like diva mentality. You know, men are getting big paychecks for some of the sorriest fights out there. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? They're getting big paychecks for them fighting unknowns, while the women like Clarissa and Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor are undisputed in these weight classes. You know, but they're not getting to pay for it. You know what I mean? So I think it's cool for, you know, Amanda Serrano to make sure the money's good. Clarissa, make sure the money's good for Savannah Marshall. I think these are $1 million fights for them. You know, I got to speak up for them. I think they are $1 million fights, which is another video coming. We will do one more video about this situation for all of these women in boxing, you know, especially when they've climbed to the top. You know, it's time for a 7-figure payday for these ladies. You know, they put their bodies through, you know, punishment just like the men, and it just kind of goes under the radar. I know overall their level of competition isn't at the same level of men's boxing, but you got to think though, they are taking on the best, whereas in men's boxing it's hard to get the best fight the best, right? So yeah, man, that's that'll be another video, guys. But yeah, that's the next fight I want to see. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. Guys, what do y'all think? Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.